Tightening race for the presidency.
It is clear Donald Trump is increasingly unstable and unhinged.
Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump are barnstorming the nation's swing states. Harris back in Pennsylvania appealing to Republican voters as Trump reaches out to Spanish-language voters as a new poll puts him above Harris in the all-important state of Georgia. The tectonic shifts in the race for the White House with just 20 days to go. Plus, more than 24 killed, including a town mayor, with major buildings demolished in southern Lebanon as the fight between the IDF and Hezbollah reaches a tipping point. We're on the ground in Lebanon for a look at the humanitarian crisis happening in real time, the more than 1 million Lebanese residents displaced, and the urgent need for food and shelter. And
Lyle and Eric are not the same people they were 35 years ago. They've shown that they are more than their past. They are survivors and deserve a chance to rebuild their lives.
The renewed push to release the infamous Menendez brothers, the new evidence in the case, and why nearly 24 relatives of the brothers and celebrities alike reunited in L.A. to urge a resentencing and potentially get them freed. Good evening, everyone. I'm Linsey Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We're following those stories and much more, including the breaking news as we come on the air, the death of former One Direction band member Liam Payne, gone at the age of 31. The tragic details behind his death that we're just learning tonight. Plus, the urgent search and rescue for 2 Navy pilots, their fighter jet crashing during a training mission near Mount Rainier in Washington State. The family of a missing Broadway dancer making an emotional appeal for his return. And the FTC unveils a new rule making it easier for consumers to click to cancel, ending subscriptions and memberships that are no longer wanted. But we do begin tonight with the race for the White House entering the home stretch. Just 20 days to go, and all eyes tonight are on those key battleground states that will ultimately decide the election. We're talking about the so-called blue wall, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, and the Sun Belt states of North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada. Vice President Harris campaigning once again this week in Pennsylvania, which has the most electoral votes of those 7 states. She was joined by more than 100 Republicans from across the country. Their message: country over party, saying the principles America was founded on are at stake, pointing to President Donald Trump's repeated threats to crack down on his opponents, calling them the enemy within. Trump spoke at Fox News town hall focused on women, calling himself the father of IVF. 20 days to go. Rachel Scott has more on the Trump campaign in a moment, but first we begin with ABC's Mary Bruce in Pennsylvania with the Harris campaign.
Tonight, standing at the site where George Washington crossed the Delaware, surrounded by over 100 Republican leaders and officials who now support her campaign, Vice President Kamala Harris arguing the ideals America was founded on are now at stake.
We are here today because we share a core belief that we must put country before party.
Harris arguing former President Donald Trump is a danger to democracy.
It is clear Donald Trump is increasingly unstable and unhinged. And he is seeking unchecked power.
The vice president citing Trump's growing calls to crack down on his political opponents, repeatedly calling them the enemy from within, even threatening to use the military against them. The former president doubling down today on Fox News.
It is the enemy from within, and they're very dangerous. These people, they're so sick, and they're so evil.
Harris seizing on Trump's words.
He has stated that one of the biggest threats America faces is, quote, the enemy from within. The enemy from within. And let us be clear about what he is saying. He considers any American who doesn't support him or bend to his will to be an enemy to our country. And further, he says that as commander-in-chief, he would use our military to go after them. Honestly, let that sink in. Use of the American military to go after American citizens?
The vice president tonight with this pledge to Republicans and independents weary of Trump.
No matter your party, no matter who you voted for last time, there is a place for you in this campaign. The coalition we have built has room for everyone who is ready to turn the page on the chaos and instability of Donald Trump. Republicans, Democrats, and independents who want to move past the politics of division and blame and get things done on behalf of the American people.
Mary Bruce joins us now. So, Mary, we know that Harris is going on Fox today and drawing a line of sorts between a Harris presidency and a President Joe Biden presidency. What is the differentiation?
Yeah, well, Linsey, Kamala Harris is trying to make clear to voters that she would be a candidate of change. That's how she's trying to cast herself, especially as she's trying to appeal to disillusioned Republicans. It's one of the reasons why she just went on Fox News, her first ever interview with the outlet. And she said, and I quote, "Let me be very clear. My presidency will not be a continuation of Joe Biden's presidency." And she went on, Linsey, to slam Donald Trump as unfit and a danger to democracy.
All right, Mary Bruce for us. Thanks so much, Mary. Now to former President Trump in that town hall with women asked about state abortion bans that followed the overturning of Roe v. Wade and the threat to IVF that followed, along with his claim to be the father of IVF. Here's Rachel Scott.
Tonight in a Fox News town hall with only women in the audience, former President Donald Trump asked to address concerns about the growing number of state abortion bans imposed after he appointed 3 of the Supreme Court justices who overturned Roe v. Wade. That decision putting IVF at risk in some states, too.
Oh, I want to talk about IVF. I'm the father.
You don't hear that every day.
I'm the father of IVF.
After Roe was overturned, the Alabama Supreme Court ruled embryos used in IVF are children, temporarily halting the procedure in the state. Trump said he learned about the court's move in a concerned phone call from Alabama Senator Katie Britt.
So I got a call from Katie Britt, a young, just a fantastically attractive person from Alabama. She's a senator. And she called me up like emergency, because an Alabama judge had ruled that the IVF clinics were illegal and they have to be closed down. And I said, explain IVF very quickly. And within about 2 minutes, I understood it. I said, no, we're totally in favor of IVF.
But tonight, Vice President Kamala Harris calling those comments bizarre, reminding Americans it was Trump's appointments to the Supreme Court that got us here.
I found it to be quite bizarre. Actually, he called himself the father of IVF. And if what he meant is taking responsibility, well, then, yeah, he should take responsibility for the fact that 1 in 3 women in America lives in a Trump abortion ban state. What the reality is his actions have been very harmful to women and families in America on this issue.
And Rachel Scott joins us now in studio. So it's very clear as far as Trump leads when it comes to male voters, Harris leads when it comes to female voters, but he's trying to attract some of those female voters.
Yeah, now he is critically focused on this. And, you know, out on the campaign trail, he often brags about appointing 3 of the Supreme Court justices who supported overturning Roe versus Wade. Now there's a sense where he realizes that could be a political liability for him when it comes to women, because polls do show that Vice President Kamala Harris still has this edge when it comes to likely female voters. So he's doing this town hall on Fox News with a female voter audience, trying to get female voters really energized, because in a race this close, we know that any key demographic could make all the difference. Linsey.
Saying that he is father of IVF. All right, Rachel Scott for us. Thanks so much, Rachel. Now to the new calls for the Menendez brothers to be released from prison by more than a dozen family members who spoke before cameras today. They're using prosecutors to recommend a resentencing for Lyle and Eric, who are serving life sentences for murdering their parents in 1989. ABC's Mola Lange has more.
After 35 years behind bars for brutally killing their parents, tonight, a new push for freedom for the infamous Menendez brothers. Dozens of family members, friends, and supporters joining forces to pressure the LA District Attorney to recommend resentencing in the case.
Lyle and Eric are not the same people they were 35 years ago. They've shown that they are more than their past.
It was a shocking crime that is now getting fresh scrutiny amid new evidence and a new Netflix series and documentary.
I believed that it was an honest and reasonable belief that I was going to die.
The trial riveted this country. Eric and Lyle claim they feared for their own lives when they gunned down their parents in their Beverly Hills mansion. The brothers describing horrific sexual abuse by their father, Jose Menendez.
He raped me.
Did you cry?
Yes.
And their cousins backing up their allegations of abuse.
He proceeded to indicate to me by touching himself down and saying that his dad and him had been touching each other down there.
That jury, more than 30 years ago, deadlocked.
The court declares a mistrial.
But LA prosecutors would try the Menendez brothers once again, just a week after their case against O.J. Simpson fell apart.
Not guilty of the crime of murder.
Simpson going free. In the second trial, the judge severely limiting testimony about abuse. The brothers convicted and sentenced to life in prison. Years later, in a surprise move, the LA district attorney now reviewing the case, weighing new evidence, including a letter Eric wrote to a cousin detailing the alleged abuse just months before the murders, along with a recent allegation from Roy Rossello, a member of the band Menudo, who says he too was molested by Jose Menendez, a powerful record executive. DA George Gascon telling our Juju Chang any recommendation will consider the decades already served and the behavior of the brothers behind bars.
Do you think the Menendez brothers will walk free someday?
Given the totality of the circumstances, I don't think that they deserve to be in prison until they die.
The Menendez family arguing the sexual abuse of boys has long been ignored.
They would be victims of a culture that was not ready to listen. They would be mocked. They would be called cold-blooded killers.
Kitty Menendez's own sister, Joan, who's now 92, says the brothers have already paid a heavy price.
They were just children who could have been protected and were instead brutalized in the most horrific ways.
A number of sympathizers in the family there. Mola Lange joins us now from Los Angeles. And Mola, we know that they had a lot of support today, but who in the family is against their potential release?
Well, yeah, Lindsay, as you saw, a majority of the family does, in fact, support the release of the brothers, but Kitty's brother remains against it. Now, the district attorney has indicated that he could make a decision as early as this month, but ultimately it'll be up to a judge to decide whether the Menendez brothers are released from prison or if they get a new trial. Lindsay?
All right, Mola Lange, our thanks to you. Coming up, Juju Chang sat down with some members of the Menendez family on their push for a resentencing. We'll hear why they're fighting so hard now and also hear from the brothers' defense attorney. That's coming up a little bit later in our show. Now to that developing news on the sudden death of One Direction member Liam Payne. Police say he fell from the third floor at his hotel. ABC's Trevor Ault has the details.
Tonight, a shocking tragedy in the music world. Former One Direction member Liam Payne dead in Argentina. Local authorities say the 31-year-old pop star fell from his third-floor hotel room in Buenos Aires. Payne had been staying at the Casa Sur Hotel, paramedics pronouncing him dead at the scene. The singer was part of a global phenomenon when One Direction exploded in popularity in 2010. The concerts drawing massive crowds. After the group went on hiatus in 2016, Payne transitioned into a solo career, this year releasing the song Teardrops. Payne leaves behind one young child, recently sharing this photo of his son looking up at his dad on a billboard.
What a tragedy. Trevor Ault joins us now. Trevor, what else do we know about the investigation into Payne's death?
Well, Lindsay, local authorities say Payne fell about 45 feet, and now this investigation is ongoing, but we do know that an autopsy is going to be performed, and Payne had been in Argentina attending the concert of one of his former bandmates. Lindsay?
All right, Trevor Ault for us. Thanks so much, Trevor. And now ABC News contributor and SiriusXM host Mr. Mike Muse joins us now for more. Mike, your reaction to hearing this news?
It's very sad, and it's a sad day for pop culture, sad day for the music business, and sad day for so many One Direction fans, including myself. One Direction defined a new era of boy band. Lindsay, you know there's an era of Boyz II Men, Backstreet Boys,
New Kids on the Block.
New Kids on the Block. And then we hit a lull of boy bands. And then in 2010, One Direction really came and took the world by storm, inserting a new dynamic. The boy bands of golden era used to be very clean, very polished, very choreographical. These boys came out, they were free, and they were casual, and they really redefined what the boy band is and launched some incredible careers of soloists that we see, like Harry Styles and Zayn Malik.
What do you think that Liam Payne's legacy might be for the music industry and potentially beyond?
Really great question. I think it's a cautionary tale of fame and success. Liam was very open about his struggles with addiction to substance abuse, and he talks about it was the rise of fame. And he said that he had dynamics with it, and really going into rehab. And as of lately, we've seen Liam trying to find himself. And I think that is what is so tragic about this, in the sense of, in this moment, he was trying to find himself. He said he found love in music again and making albums, and then here we are now, a life cut short due to, we don't know what the full circumstances are, but definitely a tragic ending.
Have we heard at all from any of his former band members?
No, we haven't heard as of right now. We haven't heard anything yet, but I'm really curious to see what Harry Styles is going to say, in particular Zayn. These are the two most popular individuals of One Direction, and I know the fans want to hear from them. And in particular, the band kind of broke up in the sense of wanting to find their own lane, but there was lots of speculation of internal fighting, and so I think this could be a good moment for closure for a lot of the fans, and to really see these young men come together as they celebrate their loved ones.
And as you say, a cautionary tale. It feels like we see this happen far too often, at least in the music industry and Hollywood in general. Mike Muse, always appreciate your insight. Thank you so much for joining us. President Biden delivered an emotional eulogy today at a memorial for Ethel Kennedy, the widow of Robert F. Kennedy, Jr.
But you know, Ethel was a hero in her own right, full of character, full of integrity and empathy, genuine empathy. She's full of laughter and joy and light.
President Biden credited Ethel Kennedy with helping him through the loss of his first wife and daughter, and later of his son. President Biden sat in the first row during the services with former Presidents Obama and Clinton. Next to them, former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. It was a rare sighting, Biden and Obama together since Biden ended his bid for re-election. Ethel Kennedy died last week after suffering a stroke. She was 96 years old. Now to the urgent search for a Navy pilot and a crew member after their high-tech fighter jet crashed in a remote part of Washington state. Rescuers searching through tough mountain terrain and cloudy weather with low visibility. Here's ABC's Melissa Adon.
Tonight, the Navy and local first responders are searching near Mount Rainier in Washington state for two crew members after their jet crashed while on a routine training flight. The Navy says the EA-18G Growler jet was flying out of Naval Air Station Whidbey Island in Washington state when it crashed around 3:20 p.m. Tuesday, and that responders are facing mountainous terrain, cloudy weather, and low visibility.
Where this airplane went down is in very dense, very remote forest area that can swallow up an airplane and make it very difficult to find from the air.
The jet, part of a high-tech electronic attack squadron that recently completed a deployment to the Middle East.
It's designed to do electronic attack, which means it jams radars, protects the fleet, protects any aircraft that would be going after enemy targets.
Lindsay, it is still early on, and the cause of this plane crash is under investigation. Lindsay?
Melissa, thank you. Those of us inundated with subscription services that we can't seem to get out of can soon breathe a sigh of relief. The Federal Trade Commission has adopted a rule that will take effect in 180 days, requiring businesses to make it easy for consumers to cancel unwanted subscriptions and memberships with the click to cancel. It will also prohibit businesses from misleading customers about subscriptions and require them to obtain consent before charging for memberships, auto renewals, and programs linked to free trial offers. And we still have much more to get to here on Prime tonight. In our Prime focus, humanitarian conditions for citizens in in Lebanon are declining as Israel ramps up its attacks on Hezbollah. James Longman takes us to a small county where the livelihoods there are becoming collateral damage.
Did you kill Mary Yoder?
Sorry. No, I did not kill Mary Yoder.
This is a mystery. How did she die? They begin to do this autopsy. It's just screaming, toxin, toxin, toxin.
Did somebody intentionally do this to her?
When the tests came back, I thought, yeah, holy, are you kidding me?
My garden club is very divided. People think she's innocent. I think she's guilty.
Never heard of a case like this. Maybe a thriller.
I'm not buying this Little Miss Innocent game.
Little Miss Innocent, passion, poison, prison.
I know it wasn't me. Sorry. So, if it wasn't me, who was it?
Only on Hulu.
Hi, my name is Patrice. I am a totally cool person with a disability. Patrice always sees the best side of life. I just looked at her and I said, would you like to be my wife?
If you get married and you're collecting a Social Security benefit, your benefit will be cut.
I don't take anything for granted.
I don't see what anyone can see in anyone.
They're never gonna stop us from loving each other.
Things have changed.
What does that mean?
It means everyone is vulnerable. I know for a fact there's something else at work here.
When you put blood on the ground, there's no going back from it.
FX is the old man. All new Thursdays at 10 on FX. Stream on Hulu.
America's #1 most-watched daytime talk show is ABC's The View.
You all heard it here first.
I love it. I'm there for it. Hot topics, political views.
That's what we're about.
Voices that matter. It all goes down right here.
That's why it's called the what?
The View.
I love it. I'm all in. Second that.
This is going to be must-see TV.
And so much could happen.
Hey, Bruce. Hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. Do you remember what it was like not to be famous?
Yeah, I do.
Sound check is starting. You always say that you want them to leave with more than they came.
Yeah, that's my guarantee.
Guaranteed. You have the best job in the world.
Hell yes, I do.
Sunday night on ABC.
Humanitarian conditions for the citizens of Lebanon continue to deteriorate as Israel has ramped up its pounding of Hezbollah's weapons caches, homes, and hideouts, killing many of its leaders in the past month. Today, UNICEF said that more than a fifth of the Lebanese population, approximately 1.2 million people, have been displaced by the conflict, a third of them children. In a tiny country just a little smaller than Connecticut, innocent civilians often live near Hezbollah members, the livelihoods and lives of those citizens becoming collateral damage. Our James Longman has this report from Lebanon in tonight's Prime Focus.
The mountains above Beirut are supposed to be safe. Not anymore. During the Lebanese Civil War, which raged for more than 15 years and ended in 1990, Mount Lebanon became a haven for those fleeing the violence in the capital. But now, with Israel's operation in Lebanon expanding in the air and on the ground, death has come here too.
We're in the hills above Lebanon at a scene of an Israeli airstrike. This was a family home. We're told 3-story building came down completely. This is what's left of it. We spoke to a family member and he said there were 16 people living here. All of them have been killed.
Hussein Samir Amro shows me around what remains of his home.
He wants to project strength. He doesn't want the world to see him weak and crying. He wants everyone to know that they're strong.
Hussein says some members of his family had come from the south to escape the fighting.
They may have come with their families, but Israel might say, well, the men were armed, the men had weapons, they brought weapons with them here, they were fighters, they brought their families. He says that's ridiculous.
ABC News asked the IDF what threat they had identified here. They did not respond. Hezbollah has launched rockets, missiles and drones at Israel nearly every day since last year's Hamas attack, displacing close to 100,000 Israelis, killing dozens and injuring more than 500. And when Israel killed Hezbollah's leader, Hassan Nasrallah, in a massive airstrike last month, what had been a limited border fight turned into all-out war. And Israel has now issued evacuation notices to 25% of the entire country. 1.2 million have now been displaced, according to UNICEF. 400,000 of those are children. And as ever, civilians have found themselves paying the price. Hussein takes us to the funeral. We see the pictures of his aunts and uncles, nieces and nephews on the wall outside the mosque. In the knowledge that Israel could strike at any time, this gathering is in itself surprising. Even more so because a Hezbollah official is here. Hezbollah is not just a proscribed terror group, but a political party. And Ra'ed Berro is a member of the Lebanese parliament.
What's the last month been like for you?
I'm a politician. You can't ask such a personal question, he says. He seems angry at being asked.
From a personal perspective, there's no reason to ask him the question. But the issue is that Israel says that Hezbollah needs to be removed from Lebanon. So you are their target. Does that not worry you?
Hezbollah is more than a fighter, more than a person, more than its leader, he says. It's an idea, and an idea cannot be killed that easily. It's true that we're wounded, he says, but a wounded lion is still a lion. Hezbollah says there'll be no ceasefire in Lebanon as long as Israel's operation in Gaza continues.
You say that you will not be slaves. Israel says that you are a slave to Iran, and that Iran is causing this catastrophe.
Iran stood by our side, he says, in contrast to America's support for Israel. We're forced to gather allies. If China or Russia are willing to assist us, we are ready. Hezbollah effectively controls the Shia Muslim population of Lebanon, and as the self-proclaimed resistance to Israel's occupation in Gaza and the West Bank, the support of its already loyal base has deepened as they watch the humanitarian crisis in Gaza.
Hezbollah was created in order to defend itself, so we're just defending ourselves. Who gave Israel the right to say that Hezbollah should be removed? ما أصلاً نحن Lebanese people, we are Hezbollah يعني.
The next day, we returned to the strike site in Meisra, where Hussein's family was killed.
There's a kitchen. Come over here to show you.
Mohammed, a neighbor, is there. He's part of the same extended family and was there when the bombs hit.
This is where the strike hit?
Yes. My wife was sitting over here on my knees, my 12-year-old niece. And I was, inside the kitchen, and I heard like a big explosion.
So Israel says that people don't talk about politics in this part of Lebanon because they're afraid to talk about Hezbollah.
Probably. Probably everybody afraid.
Lebanon is built on very delicate sectarian foundations. Sunni Muslims, Shia Muslims and Christians still share power from the deal brokered back in 1990 that ended the civil war. These strikes are rattling those sectarian divides once again.
That's my uncle's wife. That's my mom here.
Down the hill from this home, I find Eli and his family. They live much like their neighbors who lost everything, in a large home full of extended family. But they are Christian. Eli takes me to meet his aunt, who was injured in the strike next door.
Can I ask what went through her mind when everything happened?
She thought as if her hand flew away. She started screaming that her hand got cut off.
Thank you.
Eli shows me upstairs.
So the building that was hit, I'm just going to wait.
Yeah.
Is just here?
Yes, you can see it. You can see the rubble there.
Just see the rubble there.
It was like 3 stories up.
Yeah.
And it all went down.
Yeah, right next door. Lebanon is so proud of its sectarian balance.
Yes.
And, right? I mean, that's something that people always say, look, there's a church, look, there's a mosque.
True, and we were living in peace with those people for 40 years, you know? They were our neighbors. We knew all of them. And that's what just happened is very, very sad.
But there's a lot of talk now in Lebanon about how Hezbollah is drawing a war into Lebanon and that other communities feel in danger. Do you think that's true for you?
I mean, actually, we do kind of feel in danger at the moment, yes.
When Israel says it wants to destroy Hezbollah, people here ask the simple question, how? Without causing massive collateral damage. When it's become such a pervasive part of the Lebanese state, of its political, bureaucratic and social makeup. A majority of Lebanese oppose Hezbollah, but right now, anger at Israel's invasion has triggered a rare sense of unity in this otherwise divided country. But this current crisis could become existential for Lebanon, and in a choice between its own survival and the survival of the Lebanese state, Hezbollah is choosing itself.
Our thanks to James Longman for that. Still much more to get to tonight. Coming up, auto loans are leading many Americans to be considered car poor. We take a closer look at what's fueling the rise by the numbers.
How many elephants have you killed?
True natural beauty. One of the last of its kind. But this comes at a cost. 5 countries, 5 incredible real stories of adventure, danger,
We have to go.
and deceit.
Where are we going next? We got this ongoing search for the animal we've been trying to find.
These are the last lands. The national parks around the world that have to be saved.
Yo, partner.
We're not partners. I'm the detective and you are the consultant. I see you brought your baby to a crime scene.
She is just spectating.
You're a single mom with 3 kids pretending to be a cop.
I am not pretending. I spot things that detectives miss. Still think my theory's flimsy?
That big brain of hers is going to help us close out a lot of cases.
I'm just out here super copping.
High Potential, all new Tuesdays on ABC and stream on Hulu.
Hey, good morning, America. Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Are you ready? They are ready. Covering the biggest events in the country right now.
There's a lot going on here this morning.
You don't just see it, you feel it.
I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in too. I'll be there.
I am here and so happy.
I'm in.
I'm in too.
Michael, George, Clara, Ginger.
I did terrible things. I hurt a lot of people.
I know who you are.
Ball is in the air. You're special.
Yes, it's a touchdown.
What if God made me this way?
FX's American Sports Story. Aaron Hernandez. All new Tuesdays at 10 on FX. Stream on Hulu.
Mary J. Blige, Cher, Dave Matthews Band, Jimmy Buffett, Kool and the Gang, Dionne Warwick.
It has been amazing.
So, how do you get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Hey, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Foreigners waiting outside.
Foreigner, not in the Hall of Fame?
I love Peter Frampton. I always feel like he's been far too underrated.
Getting into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That is the ultimate goal.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, now streaming on Hulu. Wednesday night.
Oh my God.
We're back with the biggest and best season yet.
Oh, no way.
John Fiona's here.
What would you do?
Here we go.
So the question is,
what would you do?
You see somebody in trouble, try to help.
Can I give you a hug? Is that okay?
You have tears in your eyes.
Thank you for standing up for us.
Oh my God! Look at John! It's what would you do? I'm on it, girl.
now on Wednesday nights on ABC.
Reporting from the 2024 Summer Games in Paris, I'm Maggie Rulli. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back, everyone. Many car buyers during the pandemic found that they needed to shell out big bucks for both new as well as used vehicles. A sudden lack of inventory quickly drove up prices in 2021 and 2022. And since interest rates were rising simultaneously, many borrowers today find themselves owing more on their car than it's actually worth. In tonight's By the Numbers, we'll tackle those onerous car loans. According to Edmunds, almost a quarter of people with car loans are now sitting on loans with negative equity, meaning they owe more on their car than it's worth. Making matters worse, the average underwater car loan is currently $6,400. That's an all-time high. And nearly 30% of people underwater owe more than $10,000, a measure of just how desperate people got during the pandemic, spending much more on cars than they were actually worth. Though car prices have come down, rates on auto loans remain near 15-year highs since the Federal Reserve only recently eased up on interest rates. The APR is close to 7% for the average new car and 12% for the average used car, according to Experian. Unfortunately, borrowers in recent years have also selected to pay off loans over longer terms. Almost 70% of new vehicle loans had terms of more than 5 years, according to Edmunds. And woe unto you if you have poor credit. According to Experian, those with poor credit are usually offered loans at triple the rate of someone with excellent credit. And we still have much more to get to here on Prime tonight. ABC News Live's Diane Macedo takes us on a deep dive into her diagnosis for our Inside ADHD series. What's making the process of even getting a diagnosis so difficult? And it's one of the most notorious double murder cases in history. And Los Angeles officials are now reviewing the case. Juju Chang speaks with the family of Eric and Lyle Menendez as many push for their release.
Did you kill Mary Yoder?
Sorry. No, I did not kill Mary Yoder. So it was a normal day until Mary started getting sick. No one really knew what was happening.
Her eyes just looked terrified. In less than 48 hours, my mom went from her healthy self to having died.
This is a mystery. How did she die? They begin to do this autopsy.
It's just screaming, toxin, toxin, toxin.
Did somebody intentionally do this to her?
When the tests came back, I thought, yo, holy, are you kidding me?
I had dated Adam. I was scared of him. It changed the way I see the world.
She was really afraid for her life.
I do think Bill could have killed Mary. His wife died in July, and in November, he was dating his sister-in-law.
There was nothing in the world that was making sense at that point.
Caitlin Conley was guilty as sin. Are you okay?
I'm sorry, I'm scared.
This girl thought she was smarter than everybody else. But there's another side to Caitlin Conley.
Well, I'm not buying this little Miss Innocent game.
Sequoia's a very small town. Everybody knows everybody.
My garden club is very divided. People think she's innocent. I think she's guilty.
Never heard of a case like this? Maybe a thriller.
It was pure evil.
We weren't quite sure what was coming next. I know it wasn't me. Sorry. So, if it wasn't me, who was it?
Little Miss Innocent. Passion, poison, prison. Only on Hulu.
You're watching America's #1 streaming news, ABC News Live. Breaking news, exclusives, live reporting across the globe. Keep streaming with ABC News Live.
Attention teachers, no child is to be sent to the principal's office today. Kids, if you want to do crime, now's the time. Happy first day in school.
Yes. Weren't there like 4 more of these?
Yeah, we were robbed.
Hey, buy 3, get 1 free.
I'ma call your mother on you. Bring the rest back here, boy.
Welcome back, everyone. An estimated 15.5 million U.S. adults have ADHD. That's according to the Centers for Disease Control, with 1 in 3 adults with the disorder taking stimulant medication for it. But for the majority of those walking around with ADHD, it's proven difficult to get a diagnosis and even more difficult to fill their prescriptions. Tonight, we take a deeper dive into the disorder and look behind the numbers to the everyday people living with it, one of whom anchors this very channel. Our Diane Macedo has more in the second installment of our series Inside ADHD as she explores her own diagnosis.
I really just thought, oh my gosh, I am so broken right now. What? Like, something is dreadfully wrong with me.
At 42, Raquel Gonsalves-Lubbers says she felt her life was at a crescendo of difficulty. She'd been struggling for decades with overwhelm, chaos, and at times suicidal ideation. But despite years of complaints, her doctor's answer never changed.
It had always come back to anxiety and depression. They're so hard. It's so understandable. You're such a perfectionist and an overachiever. Who wouldn't be experiencing these things?
But Raquel soon found the rest of her family was struggling too. And after calling multiple providers, shelling out more than $7,000 and waiting months for neuropsych evaluations, they finally learned they all have ADHD.
So it took you 5 months from when you suspected you and your kids might have ADHD to when you finally all got diagnosed.
Yeah, it came with relief, and then it came with anger. Like, why didn't anyone find this before when I had tried to get help?
Part of the problem is the criteria to diagnose ADHD were developed for boys, but those symptoms often look very different in adults and females.
In general, adults have more of the inattentive symptoms than the hyperactive impulsive, and that is more true for women than for men. If you ask, do they run about and climb, you're not going to get a positive answer on that commonly. But if you ask them, are they always busy doing more than one thing at once, even when they're trying to settle down, that's really where you'll get positive answers.
That often leads to women being misdiagnosed, which Lindsey Scola says happened to her after working on a writing project involving a character with ADHD.
I started doing some research about what ADHD looked like for someone in their 30s, specifically a woman in their 30s. I was like, oh, this sounds like me, this sounds like me, this sounds like me.
Lindsey's doctor recommended she see a neuropsychologist, but it took weeks just to get her calls returned.
Once they called me back, they didn't take my insurance, and so I found another person, and that person did take my insurance, and by the time that person called me back, found out that they don't do ADHD testing. I was in sort of a loop for many, many months.
6 months later, Lindsey finally got an appointment, but immediately she felt dismissed.
I felt like I was being challenged to prove that I had ADHD. And, you know, I missed that day at med school.
Did she ask you questions about your past, questions about childhood and evidence of symptoms then?
No. This woman told me that I should really just start calendaring what was going on in my world. And I've been keeping a calendar since I was a teenager.
Without a full evaluation, the psychologist told Lindsey she was likely depressed. So Lindsey started the process all over again. 5 months later, after a full evaluation from a different psychologist, Lindsey got a very different diagnosis.
I was in the 99th percentile for inattentive ADHD.
99.
Oh yeah, no, go big or go home. I really like to ace things.
But even after diagnosis, for many with ADHD, the battle to get proper care is just beginning.
I have now had 6 psychiatrists cancel on me.
I posted about my own experience in August after trying to explore medication as part of my treatment. After a lot of confusion, phone calls, and 5 canceled appointments,
I decide I'll just pay out of pocket and schedule another appointment with another psychiatrist. I send her my diagnostic report so we don't have to start from scratch. And she then cancels on me.
The psychiatrist said she can't accept my existing extensive diagnostic report and has to do her own diagnostic evaluation at a cost of hundreds of dollars.
It's not possible for patients to see specialists like me all the time. Many are going to be seeing primary care providers. They previously have been more comfortable in making a diagnosis of anxiety and depression than ADHD.
But even once you have a prescription, the challenge for those with ADHD is far from over. For Raquel, medication was an immediate game changer.
I remember just calling everybody in my close circle and saying, I cannot believe what is happening in my brain and the difference it's making in my life. And I know it doesn't work like that for everyone, but for me it did.
But she says getting that medication for her and her kids is sometimes impossible due to a shortage that started over 2 years ago.
It's been about 3 weeks since we've been trying to get medication. After the difficulty of actually getting the appointments, getting the prescriptions, which was already hard. And now I'm on the phone every day calling around. It's no, we're out.
Then the regulations on some ADHD drugs add extra hurdles for patients.
The stimulant medicines are Class 2 controlled substances, which means they can't have refills on them, and they can generally be written mostly in 1 month supply. Every time that the prescription is written, the patient has to touch base with the clinician's office and get a new prescription.
They can't transfer pharmacy to pharmacy like another medication. I have to call the doctor, leave a message with the nurse, and then ask, can you send a new script to this new place? But by the time that process happens, someone else already got the bottle. And the next day I start the process all over again. It's maddening. It feels like Groundhog's Day.
And that prescription expires even if it wasn't filled.
Then you're going to need to call the doctor and get new ones called in. They might say, I'm sorry, but you need to actually come in.
Dr. Harsh Trivedi suggests patients check to see if their insurance includes a mail-away plan and contact the manufacturer.
And sometimes there are ways to access the medicine directly from the manufacturer, or they can tell you where supplies may exist.
Hi, I'm just calling again about the generic Vyvanse.
For now, Raquel is using her skills as an ADHD coach to help her family navigate this challenging time as they keep searching for meds.
Nice.
Meanwhile, Linsey is now seeing her new psychologist regularly for non-medication treatment and teaming up with me for weekly accountability meetings guided by a cognitive behavioral therapy workbook.
It's been so helpful, working through something with somebody else.
And I feel like having my weekly appointment with you keeps me on task and helps me to make the time to do it.
And while I still haven't found a psychiatrist, I have started working with ADHD coach Tracy Otsuka.
I'm helping you take action. We're going to work through obstacles together.
Who's helping me navigate that search and other aspects of life with ADHD.
If we're 5 minutes in and I'm crying.
Our thanks to Diane for that conversation. Now to more on one of the most notorious double murder cases in modern history. Eric and Lyle Menendez are serving life sentences for killing their parents inside their Beverly Hills home in 1989. Now their attorneys and family members are making a push for their freedom nearly 30 years after they were found guilty. ABC's Juju Chang spoke with those close to the case, including the brothers' defense attorney, the Los Angeles DA, and family members about the possibility of their release.
What's the problem? Someone killed my parents. Pardon me? Someone killed me.
It was from the jump one of the biggest cases in Los Angeles and in the country. No one could believe that these two young men had killed their parents this way.
It was the shocking Beverly Hills double murder. A prominent husband and wife gunned down by their own children in cold blood.
Entertainment executive Jose Menendez and his wife were slain in the family room of their Beverly Hills mansion.
Their sons burst in on them and opened fire repeatedly, over and over, shotgun blasts to all parts of their body.
Eric and Lyle Menendez, the sharp-jawed, brooding brothers, convicted and sentenced to life in prison for the heinous crime.
There was something deeply evil about it that scared people.
I'm just a normal kid.
Oh, Eric, you're a normal kid who killed your parents.
Yeah, I know.
They get life without the possibility of parole in their 20s. You are going to die in prison.
How they killed their parents, Jose and Kitty, was always clear. Why they did it has always divided and riveted the nation.
Remember, this was not a whodunit. This was why.
Physical, verbal, psychological, sexual abuse that went on for years.
Lyle and Eric Menendez are stone cold murderers. Abuse does not justify a revenge killing. Never, 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 ever.
There are some who argue that the sex abuse was fabricated.
Sure they do. They don't want to admit the truth. They were afraid that Jose really would kill people.
If Jose was with one of the boys down the hallway, you were not allowed to go down the hallway. That, to me, is chilling.
Now, in the eyes of many, the Menendez brothers have seemingly gone from public enemies to victims, all as a powerful movement builds online to set the brothers free.
5 to 10 years would have been enough. They didn't need to do life without parole.
Young people today want to stand up for victims of abuse.
Prison reform advocate Kim Kardashian and actor Rosie O'Donnell, who's friends with the brothers, are calling for their release.
They were not horrible kids. They were severely, sadistically tortured by a pedophile predator father and a very compliant and also involved mother who had no interest in them.
We talked to family members and lawyers trying to free them as the country re-examines every facet of the case.
Did your father have sexual contact with you?
Yes.
Lyle even speaking to ABC from prison over the years.
My name is Lyle Menendez. I am the kid that did kill his parents, and no river of tears has changed that, and no amount of regret has changed it.
The Menendez brothers' saga now being looked at through a modern lens, at a trauma barely understood at the time, that men could be sexually abused too. A reality explored by the former psychiatrist who treated the brothers way back in the 90s.
In the 80s and 90s, the public had very little knowledge about this type of sexual abuse, especially fathers abusing their own sons. Back then, there were many people that just dismissed this outright.
I don't think in the 90s the world was ready for this type of case, especially the graphic nature of the description of sexual abuse.
I have always thought that if the Menendez brothers were the Menendez sisters, they'd be free today. Would have been convicted. But an abuse victim often gets some kind of clemency.
The pressure continues to build. Now a fresh legal filing with even more distressing details of Jose Menendez's alleged abuse, including a handwritten letter the brothers' attorneys say Eric Menendez wrote to his cousin.
I knew immediately that it was a potentially major piece of evidence.
And another alleged victim of their father, a former member of the band Menudo, speaking out in a Peacock documentary.
Yes, that's the man here that raped me, this guy.
This does support that Jose Menendez was a sexual predator, not only with his children, but with other people's children.
This is done. This is done. You understand? No more between you two. And you are never to touch him. Not ever.
3 decades after that gruesome real-life crime, a popular Netflix series is transfixing viewers with its heavily dramatized take on the murders and outlandish accusations of an incestuous relationship between the brothers.
Eric and I killed our parents together, so I'd say that makes us pretty close.
Turning the Beverly Hills mansion where it all happened into a tourist destination.
It's incredible how this case has jumped back into the news. It's incredible that I'm even talking about it. You know, I had forgotten about this case.
This is not a child abuse trial. This is a murder trial.
But some, like former LA Times journalist Alan Abrahamson, who covered the trial, still believe the brothers killed for money and that the jury got it right, given their lavish spending spree.
The parents were sitting in the den watching TV. Did they have any weapons? No.
I thought that when Lyle described the killing of his mother, that a normal jury would find it reprehensible and convict him. We loved our mother. Oh, yeah, really? You loved your mother? You blew her up?
Kitty's brother, Milton Anderson, agrees the brothers should not be released, saying in a statement, when Eric and Lyle Menendez executed their parents, Kitty and Jose Menendez, they not only cut short 2 lives, they also shattered an entire family, and that their motive was pure greed.
Eric Galen Menendez, M-E-N-E-N-D-E-Z.
This was appointment television. It was these 2 young, good-looking men accused of this horrific crime with this even more horrific defense.
At the time, the brothers were often mocked and ridiculed in the media, lampooned on shows like Saturday Night Live.
And can you tell the court who did murder your parents?
our other two brothers, Danny Menendez and Jose Menendez Jr.
Looking back on the SNL skits that we all laughed at, I'm a little disgusted, if I'm being honest. Sexual abuse is no laughing matter.
Rosie O'Donnell, who sees herself as a big sister to Lyle and Eric, says she herself was sexually abused as a child.
When you watched their testimony, what went through your mind?
My body got all shaky, my stomach was all nervous, and my eyes filled with tears, and I knew they had lived through it. I knew it. You cannot fake it. It's a coat of shame no one wants to wear.
Do you think the Menendez brothers will walk free someday?
Look, I believe, right, that given the totality of the circumstances, I don't think that they deserve to be in prison until they die, okay? I don't believe that.
You know, my hope is to have them over for Thanksgiving dinner.
The DA has set one hearing date for November of 2024.
I think it's far too much punishment. They were punished just by being with that man all those years and having their mother ignore it.
24 family members agree, including Karen's mother, Kitty Menendez's sister, who's leading the efforts.
Gargo said he hopes they come home for Thanksgiving.
And I want that so badly because my mother's birthday is 3 days before, and she'll be 93. And my mother has been their biggest advocate, and that would be the best birthday present to give to my mother, would be to have her nephews home with her on her birthday at Thanksgiving.
Really intriguing reporting from Juju Chang for a closer look at the case and how the Menendez brothers have found their way into the pop culture consciousness. Watch Impact by Nightline, Menendez Brothers, Monsters or Victims, streams on Hulu tomorrow. And that is our show for this hour. I'm Linsey Davis. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Coming up in the next hour, both Vice President Harris and former President Trump make news on the campaign trail with less than 3 weeks to go. A fuel tanker explosion in Nigeria results in more than 100 deaths. What officials say happened just before it exploded into flames.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the reigning champion right here in Mexico City, La Máquina.
¿Ganamos? ¿Tú qué crees, papá? ¿Y dónde está mi ayer? 2, 3, Lego!
Things have changed.
What does that mean?
It means everyone is vulnerable. I know for a fact there's something else at work here.
When you put blood on the ground, there's no going back from it.
FX is the old man. All new Thursdays at 10 on FX. Stream on Hulu.
Wednesday night.
Oh my God.
We're back. Biggest and best season yet.
Oh, no way.
John Fiona's here. What would you do?
Here we go.
So the question is,
what would you do?
You see somebody in trouble, try to help. Can I give you a hug? Is that okay?
You have tears in your eyes.
Thank you for standing up for us.
Oh my God! Look at John!
it's what would you do? I'm on it, girl. Now on Wednesday nights on ABC.
Trick or treat!
When I flick this switch, there'll be a horrible noise and a terrible odor.
Will it hurt?
Pain like you've never known. Oh!
Seems risky. I am much satisfied.
What? You scared?
This is happiness.
We love Halloween.
Got me.
He's a bit silly.
Turning the machine off. Do you feel good?
The case against Sean Combs might as well just be called the freak-offs. It's all about the freak-offs.
Freak-offs, what prosecutors described as orgies.
Freak-off, what is that?
Him having sex workers have sex with his partner while he watches or participates or whatever.
He was known to have the Midas touch, and now his touch is anything but golden. It's allegedly criminal.
Sex trafficking, racketeering conspiracy, interstate transportation for prostitution.
The AK-47s, the 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
Diddy in court, pleading not guilty and denied bail.
Sean Combs is being treated like a mob boss.
He's explosive.
I can't unsee that Cassie video. You could tell me whatever you want to tell me about him. I cannot unsee the video. This very powerful man in the music industry decided to use his power to hurt others. Time's up.
Diddy, drugs, lies, and freak-offs. Now streaming on Hulu.
Reporting from Monterey Park, California, I'm Robin Roberts. Wherever the story is, we're going to take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Good evening, everyone. This is ABC News Live Prime. I'm Linsey Davis. Thank you so much for streaming with us. We have a lot of news to get to this evening, including the tightening race for the presidency. Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump are barnstorming the nation's swing states. Harris back in Pennsylvania appealing to Republican voters as Trump reached out to Spanish-language voters. And a new poll puts him above Harris in the all-important state of Georgia. Plus, the breaking news as we come on the air, the death of former One Direction band member Liam Payne at just 31 years old. The tragic details behind his death that we're just learning tonight. And the rule just passed in Italy that effectively bans foreign surrogacy and why it could be targeting same-sex couples when we take a look around the world. But we do begin tonight with the race for the White House now entering the home stretch, 20 days to go. And all eyes tonight are on those key battleground states that will ultimately determine the election. We're talking about the so-called Blue Wall, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, and the Sunbelt states of North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada. Vice President Harris campaigning again this week in Pennsylvania, which has the most electoral votes of those 7 states. She was joined by more than 100 Republicans from across the country. Their message: country over party, saying the principles America was founded on are at stake, pointing to President Donald Trump's repeated threats to crack down on his opponents, calling them the enemy within. Trump spoke at a Fox News town hall focused on women, calling himself the father of IVF. 20 days to go. Rachel Scott has more on the Trump campaign in a moment, but we begin with Mary Bruce in Pennsylvania with the Harris campaign.
Tonight, standing at the site where George Washington crossed the Delaware, surrounded by over 100 Republican leaders and officials who now support her campaign, Vice President Kamala Harris arguing the ideals America was founded on are now at stake.
We are here today because we share a core belief that we must put country before party.
Harris arguing former President Donald Trump is a danger to democracy.
It is clear Donald Trump is increasingly unstable and unhinged. And he is seeking unchecked power.
The vice president citing Trump's growing calls to crack down on his political opponents, repeatedly calling them the enemy from within, even threatening to use the military against them. The former president doubling down today on Fox News.
It is the enemy from within, and they're very dangerous. These people, they're so sick and they're so evil.
Harris seizing on Trump's words.
He has stated that one of the biggest threats America faces is, quote, the enemy from within. The enemy from within. And let us be clear about what he is saying. He considers any American who doesn't support him or bend to his will to be an enemy to our country. And further, he says that as commander-in-chief, he would use our military to go after them. Honestly, let that sink in. Use of the American military to go after American citizens?
The vice president tonight with this pledge to Republicans and independents weary of Trump.
No matter your party, no matter who you voted for last time, there is a place for you in this campaign. The coalition we have built has room for everyone who is ready to turn the page on the chaos and instability of Donald Trump. Republicans, Democrats, and independents who want to move past the politics of division and blame and get things done on behalf of the American people.
Our thanks to Mary Bruce. Now to former President Trump in that town hall with all women asked about the state abortion bans that followed the overturning of Roe and the threat that IVF that followed, along with his claim to be the father of IVF. Here's ABC's Rachel Scott.
Tonight in a Fox News town hall with only women in the audience, former President Donald Trump asked to address concerns about the growing number of state abortion bans imposed after he appointed 3 of the Supreme Court justices who overturned Roe v. Wade. That decision putting IVF at risk in some states, too.
Oh, I want to talk about IVF. I'm the father.
You don't hear that every day.
I'm the father of IVF.
After Roe was overturned, the Alabama Supreme Court ruled embryos used in IVF are children, temporarily halting the procedure in the state. Trump said he learned about the court's move in a concerned phone call from Alabama Senator Katie Britt.
So I got a call from Katie Britt, a young, just a fantastically attractive person from Alabama. She's a senator. And she called me up like emergency, because an Alabama judge had ruled that the IVF clinics were illegal and they have to be closed down. And I said, explain IVF very quickly. And within about 2 minutes, I understood it. I said, no, we're totally in favor of IVF.
But tonight, Vice President Kamala Harris calling those comments bizarre, reminding Americans it was Trump's appointments to the Supreme Court that got us here.
I found it to be quite bizarre. Actually, he called himself the father of IVF. And if what he meant is taking responsibility, well, then, yeah, he should take responsibility for the fact that 1 in 3 women in America lives in a Trump abortion ban state. The reality is his actions have been very harmful to women and families in America on this issue.
Our thanks to Rachel Scott. Now to the new calls for the Menendez brothers to be released from prison by more than a dozen family members who spoke before cameras today. They urge prosecutors to recommend a resentencing for Lyle and Eric, who are serving life sentences for murdering their parents in 1989. Mola Lange has more.
After 35 years behind bars for brutally killing their parents, tonight, a new push for freedom for the infamous Menendez brothers. Dozens of family members, friends, and supporters joining forces to pressure the L.A. District Attorney to recommend resentencing in the case.
Lyle and Eric are not the same people they were 35 years ago. They've shown that they are more than their past.
It was a shocking crime that is now getting fresh scrutiny amid new evidence and a new Netflix series and documentary.
I believed that it was an honest and reasonable belief that I was going to die.
The trial riveted this country. Eric and Lyle claimed they feared for their own lives when they gunned down their parents in their Beverly Hills mansion. The brothers describing horrific sexual abuse by their father, Jose Menendez.
He raped me.
Did you cry?
Yes.
And their cousins backing up their allegations of abuse.
He proceeded to indicate to me by touching himself down and saying that his dad and him had been touching each other down there.
That jury, more than 30 years ago, deadlocked.
The court declares a mistrial.
But L.A. prosecutors would try the Menendez brothers once again, just a week after their case against O.J. Simpson fell apart.
Not guilty of the crime of murder.
Simpson going free. In the second trial, the judge severely limiting testimony about abuse. The brothers convicted and sentenced to life in prison. Years later, in a surprise move, the L.A. District Attorney now reviewing the case, weighing new evidence, including a letter Eric wrote to a cousin detailing the alleged abuse just months before the murders, along with a recent allegation from Roy Rossello, a member of the band Menudo, who says he too was molested by Jose Menendez, a powerful record executive. DA George Gascon telling our Juju Chang any recommendation will consider the decades already served and the behavior of the brothers behind bars.
Do you think the Menendez brothers will walk free someday?
Given the totality of the circumstances, I don't think that they deserve to be in prison until they die.
The Menendez family arguing the sexual abuse of boys has long been ignored.
They would be victims of a culture that was not ready to listen. They would be mocked. They would be called cold-blooded killers.
Kitty Menendez's own sister, Joan, who's now 92, says the brothers have already paid a heavy price.
They were just children who could have been protected and were instead brutalized in the most horrific ways.
Our thanks to Mola Lange. Next tonight, a chilling murder under investigation in Cumberland County, New Jersey. A detective shot and killed during a home invasion. The door of her home kicked in. The detective working with the county prosecutor's office, Governor Phil Murphy, says he's outraged and heartbroken. Here's ABC's Aaron Katursky.
Tonight, the home of a veteran New Jersey detective, a taped-off crime scene. Sergeant Monica Mosley shot and killed during a home invasion.
Once I saw the yellow tape, I knew.
Investigators scouring her property in Bridgeton today, carrying out evidence and examining a shed in the backyard. It was about 10:30 Tuesday night when police were called to Mosley's home because people were kicking in the front door.
Bucksham Road, a gunshot.
Officers found the 51-year-old suffering from a gunshot wound and said she died at the scene.
She was a kind person, and she loved her children, her 2 daughters.
Tonight, police say they're questioning a possible suspect found at a hospital suffering from a gunshot wound. But so far, no charges and no motive.
Aaron Katursky reporting. Now to that developing news on the sudden death of One Direction member Liam Payne. Police say he fell from the 3rd floor at his hotel. Trevor Ault has those details.
Tonight, a shocking tragedy in the music world. Former One Direction member Liam Payne dead in Argentina. Local authorities say the 31-year-old pop star fell from his 3rd-floor hotel room in Buenos Aires. Payne had been staying at the Casa Sur Hotel, paramedics pronouncing him dead at the scene. The singer was part of a global phenomenon when One Direction exploded in popularity in 2010. Their concerts drawing massive crowds. After the group went on hiatus in 2016, Payne transitioned into a solo career, this year releasing the song Teardrops. Payne leaves behind one young child, recently sharing this photo of his son looking up at his dad on a billboard.
What a tragedy. Trevor Ault joins us now. Trevor, what else do we know about the investigation into Payne's death?
Well, Lindsay, local authorities say Payne fell about 45 feet, and now this investigation is ongoing, but we do know that an autopsy is going to be performed, and Payne had been in Argentina attending the concert of one of his former bandmates. Lindsay?
All right, Trevor Ault for us. Thanks so much, Trevor. And now ABC News contributor and SiriusXM host Mr. Mike Muse joins us now for more. Mike, your reaction to hearing this news?
It's very sad, and it's a sad day for pop culture, sad day for the music business, and sad day for so many One Direction fans, including myself. One Direction defined a new era of boy band. Lindsay, you know, there's an era of Boys to Men, Backstreet Boys,
New Kids on the Block.
New Kids on the Block. And then we hit a lull of boy bands. And then in 2010, One Direction really came and took the world by storm, inserting a new dynamic. The boy bands of golden era used to be very clean, very polished, very choreographical. These boys came out, they were free, and they were casual, and they really redefined what the boy band is and launched some incredible careers of soloists that we see, like Harry Styles and Zayn Malik.
What do you think that Liam Payne's legacy might be for the music industry and potentially beyond?
Really great question. I think it's a cautionary tale of fame and success. Liam was very open about his struggles with addiction to substance abuse, and he talks about it was the rise of fame. And he said that he had dynamics with it, and really going into recap. And as of lately, we've seen Liam trying to find himself. And I think that is what is so tragic about this, in the sense of, in this moment, he was trying to find himself. He said he found love in music. music again and making albums. And then here we are now, a life cut short due to, we don't know what the full circumstances are, but definitely a tragic ending.
Have we heard at all from any of his former band members?
No, we haven't heard as of right now. We haven't heard anything yet, but I'm really curious to see what Harry Styles is going to say, in particular Zayn. These are the two most popular individuals of One Direction's, and I know the fans want to hear from them. And in particular, the band kind of broke up in the sense of wanting to find their own lane, but there was lots of speculation of internal fighting, and so I think this could be a good moment for closure for a lot of the fans and to really see these young men come together as they celebrate their loved ones.
And as you say, a cautionary tale. It feels like we see this happen far too often, at least in the music industry and Hollywood in general. Mike Muse, always appreciate your insight. Thank you so much for joining us. Still much more to get to. They've played characters in the racy drama series Outlander for 7 seasons on Starz, and now it's almost over. Katrina Balfe and Sam Heughan tell us about the latest season. But next, Italy passes a controversial law regarding surrogacy, why critics say it deprives infertile and gay couples from having children.
How many elephants have you killed?
True natural beauty, one of the last of its kind. But this comes at a cost. 5 countries, 5 incredible real stories of adventure, danger,
We have to go.
and deceit. Where are we going next? We got this ongoing search for the animal we've been trying to find. These are the last lands. The national parks around the world that have to be saved. There.
Mary J. Blige, Cher, Dave Matthews Band, Jimmy Buffett, Kool and the Gang, Dionne Warwick.
It has been amazing.
So, how do you get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Hey, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Foreigners waiting outside.
Foreigner? Not in the Hall of Fame?
Oh, I love Peter Frampton. I always feel like he's been far too underrated.
Getting into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That is the ultimate goal.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, now streaming on Hulu.
This ship is heaven. There should be no guilt on a pleasure cruise. Doctor, it's your job to keep everybody alive.
No pulse. She's in VFib. 1, 2, 3. Clear.
I have a pulse.
You're gonna be okay.
Reporting from northern Israel, I'm Martha Raddatz. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back, everyone. We're tracking several headlines around the world. Italy passed a law today that criminalizes seeking surrogacy outside of the country. It's already illegal in Italy. Critics say the law deprives infertile or gay couples the ability to have children. The country's conservative government says the law will protect women's dignity. Italy already has one of the world's lowest birth rates. It's not clear if the law will withstand legal challenges. A fuel tanker explosion in Nigeria has left at least 140 people dead. A truck driver lost control on the highway late Monday night, and after people rushed to the scene to try to scoop up the fuel pouring out of the vehicle, the truck exploded in flames. Deadly tanker accidents are common in Nigeria, and people frequently try to salvage fuel from trucks to take home after the accidents. Authorities are investigating what led to the accident. And take a look at a time lapse of what astronomers are calling the comet of the century. It passed over the Canary Islands on Tuesday. Observers say it only returns to our solar system every 80,000 years. Actors Katrina Balfe and Sam Heughan have played the steamy lead characters of Claire and Jamie Fraser in the drama series Outlander for a decade now. Balfe has received Golden Globe nominations for Best Actress 4 times. The plot follows Claire, a combat nurse in the British Army in the 1940s, who occasionally travels back in time 200 years to 1740s Scotland and has fallen in love with a Scottish soldier and landowner played by Mr. Heughan. Let's take a look.
I need to go and see Leary. Will you kill me if I do?
Are you asking for my permission?
I'm not. It's only, I thought I should tell you, is all.
It's very considerate. Would you mind telling me why you want to go see her?
I didn't say I want to see her. I said I need to.
Part 2 of the 7th season of Outlander premieres on Starz November 22nd, and it is a pleasure to have both Katrina Balfe and Sam Heughan here in studio with us. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi,
Thanks for
Linsey.
having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Well, it is quite an incredible feat in this day and age to have a show that lasts for 10 years. What's the most rewarding aspect of participating in a show that has that kind of longevity?
Well, I think it's just being able to play these characters over such a long time. I mean, we have crossed the 100-episode barrier. We've finished 101 episodes, and it's just been such an honor to get to live with these characters for that long.
And also to, you know, to go on this journey with the amazing fans. You know, they've been there for actually 11 years, 8 seasons. It's incredible, and they've supported us from the very beginning, from day one when we were cast to here. Here we are on season, well, coming up for season 8.
And you guys cover so much ground, not only the science fiction of it and the romance, but also a lot of history. Tell us about the role that the American Revolution plays as you're in the second part of season 7.
That's correct, yeah. Actually, Jamie and Claire are always trying to dodge history, and we've always set the show with a real historical background, with a lot of historical accuracy, and we've gone from Scotland and the Jacobite Revolution, the Jacobite War, to America. We're now in the American Revolution, and Jamie and Claire are obviously trying to be on the right side, and Jamie is constantly pulled into battle, constantly given a lot of responsibility. So it's a tough role that they play.
It's beautiful the way Diana in the books and the way our writers have done, you know, how they weave history through the story. And the Revolutionary War is really here at this point in our story. Our heroes get embroiled in it constantly, and it's that thing of, can they dodge it? Can they change anything? Or do they have to just follow the way that history is going?
What's the most challenging part about recreating America and Europe in the 1700s?
And not only that, in Scotland.
Yes.
The weather, right?
The weather, but I think also...
It's always cloudy, I guess.
It's always raining in Scotland, yeah.
I think, you know, for the most part, you know, North Carolina and Scotland share a lot of the similar geography, and they look quite similar, but we don't have the rivers. I think that's when we always come up sort of against the problems, those kind of like large water masses. We don't quite have that.
But it is incredible. Scotland has doubled, not only for America, but it's doubled for partly. We've been to the Caribbean, we've been to France in the story, and we've used this incredible studio and the locations in Scotland as well. So obviously it's incredible. But actually, when we do go back to Scotland in the story, it's always so rewarding for us and for the audience as well.
You all seem like you're genuinely friends off camera, and even as we were showing that clip, you just kind of had a little moment of exchange. I was curious, like, I wonder what they're thinking as they're watching themselves on camera.
Yeah. I mean, it was interesting to watch that clip, wasn't it? And we were like, of all the clips to choose, this one. But we were just running. We realized it's because they're not giving away too much.
Yes.
But I also think that clip is very interesting because Claire's trying to get a straight answer out of Jamie, and he's so good at dodging the real reason.
Politician himself. He's quite a tactician, and but it is interesting to see what clips were used.
What will you miss most about being part of this series?
Oh, wow. I mean, there's so many things. You know, we genuinely, our crew, our cast, we're like a family. It's been 11 years that we've all been working together. I think the reality of not getting together and sort of seeing each other day after day is going to hit quite hard.
Yeah, no, I think, as you correctly saw, you know, there's a shorthand that we have. You know, we sort of communicate almost without having to speak anymore. And I think, I mean, it's going to be very odd to be not in each other's vicinity for a while. So we might need a little bit of therapy after that.
But it's been quite a commitment, right? More than 100 episodes at this point. So what are you telling your agents? You know, I want to do this next? Because really the world is your oyster as far as opportunity now.
I think we're both saying we want to sleep for a little bit first.
Makes sense.
Sleep. Obviously, it's really exciting to think about new projects and new challenges. But yeah, definitely we'll need a moment to sort of separate ourselves from this. But yeah, we'll see. Watch this space.
Katrina, Sam, such a pleasure to have you both here with us. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I want to let our viewers know the second half of Season 7 of Outlander premieres Friday, November 22nd on Starz, and of course will be available to stream as well. And still to come, it's not just a great pumpkin, it's a record-breaking one. Find out just how much it weighs.
The case against Sean Combs might as well just be called the freak-offs. It's all about the freak-offs.
Freak-offs, what prosecutors described as orgies.
Freak-off, what is that?
Him having sex workers have sex with his partner while he watches or participates or whatever.
He was known to have the Midas touch, and now his touch is anything but golden. It's allegedly criminal.
Sex trafficking, racketeering conspiracy, interstate transportation for prostitution.
The AK-47s, the 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
Diddy in court, pleading not guilty and denied bail. Sean Combs is being treated like a mob boss.
He's explosive.
I can't unsee that Cassie video. You could tell me whatever you want to tell me about him. I cannot unsee the video. This very powerful man in the music industry decided to use his power to hurt others. Time's up.
Diddy, drugs, lies, and freak-offs. Now streaming on Hulu.
Hey, good morning, America. Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Are you ready? They are ready. Covering the biggest events in the country right now.
There's a lot going on here this morning.
You don't just see it, you feel it.
I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in too.
I'll be here.
I am here and so happy. I'm in. I'm in too.
Michael, George, Clara, Ginger.
This version of me. America's #1 most watched daytime talk show is ABC's The View.
You all heard it here first. I love it. I'm there for it.
Hot topics, political views.
That's what we're about.
Voices that matter. It all goes down right here.
That's why it's called the what? The View. I love it. I'm all in. I second that. This is going to be must-see TV, and so much could happen.
Finally tonight, a giant pumpkin sets a new record. ABC's David Muir has this story.
Tonight in Half Moon Bay, California, south of San Francisco, the 51st annual Pumpkin Festival. The parade, the pumpkin pies, the pumpkin picking. But don't try to pick these up at the World Championship Pumpkin Weigh-Off. Farmers from across America. And just look at the competition. Farmer Brandon Dawson.
It's a lot of work. You got to have good weather. You got to have good luck.
Brandon's pumpkin, 2,465 pounds. And he was just the runner-up. So who won? Here's the weigh-in.
What do we got? 2471. 2471. Whoa!
2,471 pounds.
Hello, David.
The winning farmer, Travis Ginger, a horticulture teacher from Anoka, Minnesota. His 4th year taking home the top prize.
It took 32 hours to transport this pumpkin across the country from Minnesota to Half Moon Bay, California.
Travis and his family considered their pumpkin the underdog because it took so long to grow, but they say it sure did catch up.
Just wanted to give a shout out to all of our friends and family back home in Minnesota for so much support. Feels great to be a 4-time champion at the Half Moon Bay Pumpkin Festival.
And that is our show for this hour. I'm Linsey Davis. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us.
Hey, Bruce.
Hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. Do you remember what it was like not to be famous?
Yeah,